Welcome to Melanated and Spiritually Woke. I'm your host, Adorable Earth Angel. I'm a holistic wellness educator of 12 years with a master's in public health, energy healing of 7 years, and have been a Black female spiritual alchemist my whole life. Each week, we'll be sharing uplifting, spiritually focused wellness practices to best support you in regaining your personal power, or we'll have special guest interviews with the same intention. This show is in service to all those listening, and especially for folks of color who are seeking information to support their physical, mental, and emotional spiritual awakening. These practices will help you live your best life. Hello there. Welcome to the show. We are in a beautiful period of time. This show is for the period of September 11th through the 18th. And we're speaking on the show about the energies of what's happening within this week. For our Wednesday shows, we generally focus on the energetics of what's happening and how to navigate those energies, what types of tools, what types of support we could use. And that's typically what we find on a Wednesday show. And then on a Saturday night show, we invite, sometimes there'll be a guest that comes and speaks, or it'll be something that's more specifically related to an energy healing tool, a spiritual topic that creates more of a deep dive. And so I just want to thank you for joining us on this beautiful, beautiful Wednesday, where we'll be talking again about the energies of these times. So for those of you who, many of you heard my intro, I'm Adorable, and I identify as an uplifter. And the work that I do in the world is that of creating healing spaces. Oftentimes I'm creating healing spaces and holding healing space for people of color. And it's something that gives me a lot of joy. And within that, there's always kind of been this request to create a community and an online presence that allows for uplifted and uplifting people of color to come together and to talk about our evolution and the importance of us waking up. And within our waking up, that we have the opportunity to not only just survive, but the opportunity to really feel the truth of who we are, the truth of what we're about. And it happens bit by bit. And so there's something about, there's just spirits wanting me to speak to this. You know, this show, I mean, there's a little bit of notes, but really this show is just straight up me channeling and me kind of communicating with the divine energy and really listening, like, what is the message that is for the people for this week. And I hope what I share resonates. I hope you connect with it. I hope you can embrace it as a form of medicine. But that's what this is all about. Like, how do we awaken as many people as quickly as possible? Because this planet needs us to be alive and thriving and happy in order to emit a higher vibrating frequency, to heal our ancestors, to heal ourselves, and most importantly, the new ones that are coming into the world, the babies, the fresh beings, like them, their ability to not inherit the incarnation that their previous generations have had, you know, the strength to work through, you know, the way in which your grandmother and your grandfather and your parents, the trials and tribulations, and the inability for them to have maybe the bandwidth or the opportunity to have the type of luxury of self-identity, self-help, self-discovery. Who am I? What is the meaning of life? Like, the question of the meaning of life really wasn't an opportunity for a lot of our ancestors. And as we connect with these Virgoian energies, we're like right in the middle of Virgo season and starting to transition soon from Virgo season in the next couple of weeks. And we have a lot of planets in Virgo, you know, and I reference astrology because it's so, I feel like the basis of this show is more astrology than anything else. And I think you know, when I first started out talking about the show, I was like, what is the show going to be about? What are we going to be doing? And I didn't intend for it to become a really big astrology show, but there's a lot of astrology embedded in it because the vibrations of what's happening is so influenced by astrology. You know, we just got out of Leo season, and Leo's the energy of fun and charisma and enjoyment, and that's the energy of the summer, you know, and we could literally list all of the themes of the year and how they correspond with the astrology of the time. And now everyone's back to school. It's time to get back to work. It's Virgo. Virgo's the energy of the details. And something that's interesting that many people don't know about Virgo, but Virgo is also the archetype of the master and the slave. And so in getting back to talking about, again, our grandparents, just in their grandparents, and what happens when you're trapped in this really dark, dense Virgo energy, which was like the shadowy energy of slavery. It was very Virgoian. It's all about being a servant. And what happens when that you go down a tunnel of being connected to that amount of servitude, where you're pouring out that amount of life force, the inability to know thyself. And so what we saw in the past was just the inability for people to have the opportunity to really know who they are and to come into their personal power, because there's the constant taking of the power. And so now what we're finding is that as we awaken as melanated people, that we have the ability to take back our power. And the only way we can take back our power, because we're connected energetically through the DNA, it is proven scientifically that our DNA is connected to our ancestors, that we inherit more than our physical features, but that we also inherit, as Dr. Joy DeGraw calls it, post-traumatic slave syndrome. But that in our DNA we have the traumas and we carry those traumas. But what does it mean when we spiritually awake? How do we move? How do we heal? How do we transform that energy? I believe in these times, the keys to that transformation lies in our ability to raise our frequency. And there's certain tools that point us towards how individually every one of us has the ability to awaken to our maximum potential. It's going to look different for everyone. There's some key signature things that have been confirmed as things that across the board raise your vibration, no matter if you're a Capricorn or a Sagittarius, that your vibration can raise based on some key fundamental things. It takes time and energy to work on the spiritual component of your lifestyle. Because the spiritual component, and I'm not talking about religion, but the spiritual component of what does it mean to have a ritual? What does it mean to have a ritual that is devoted to you crafting and you honing in on something that creates a momentum, that creates a revolution within you, so that all of they say how you live your life, how you do anything is how you do everything. And so but also how you spend your time is who you are. How you spend your time is exactly who you are. And so within this Virgoian energy, we sit with this question during this time. Who are you working on behalf of? Who are you working on behalf of? Are you in the art of the Virgoan perfection that is you? Recognizing first of all, you're perfect just the way you are. And with that Virgo energy, it's all about refining the perfection that is you. Right? So that's something that's coming up. Something I also do is I pull some tarot cards. So I'm also influenced by some cards that I saw for this week. And I'm going to speak to them. And what I like about tarot, what I like about astrology, for those of you who are not familiar or don't ascribe to those systems of knowing, is that they're all tools of divine source. You know, these tools are helping me to understand what source is saying, what God is saying about these times and what's happening. And so as I'm looking at the energy, it could feel that during this time, a lot of people are maybe feeling the weight of all of the work. Maybe you see the workload in front of you, maybe because it's very sobering. When we have all these planets in Earth, it's very sobering and grounded and get on the grind and, you know, put in those hours and, you know, there isn't like a sense of like, oh, this is inspiring and I have ideas and I'm in the flow. So it's like within this week, the theme that's already coming through, for one, is that we're here to talk about mastery. We're here to talk about the master versus the slave. And as you could hear, as I was alluding to in a couple of minutes ago, that our ancestors were in a position where there was a person outside of themselves that was a master, and then within themselves they were a servant, and that was the energy that they were imprinted on, and then they gave birth, and then that was the energy that generation was imprinted on, and so forth and so forth. And so in these times, what we're talking about is, one, you know, the compounded trauma and stress and suffering that's within that energy that is unpacked by future generations, that we, you know, a lot of us here are here to heal our ancestors. We're here to do that work. And so this Virgoan energy that we're feeling could be, I think every time we go into Virgo season, there could be a little bit of a triggering for melanated people, potentially, right? Because it's like we're feeling the aftershocks and the afterglows of work, of unpaid work, you know, like unpaid work. I've been reading so many articles. I don't think it's a coincidence. I'm just reading all these articles about getting paid what you're worth, and reading books like in this book I'm reading about revolutionizing your career. It's called Superconductor, and it's a beautiful book. It's written by this, he was like a professional cyclist and a microbiologist, and then he became like an entrepreneur, and now he's like a business coach. I guess you could be anything, right? But in the book, he was talking about like how you will not have the energy unless you're getting paid what you're worth. And, you know, the book isn't about metaphysics or the law of attraction or magic. It's a straight up business book. There's not that much woo in it. But the fact that he was talking about energy and money and the recognition that we have to get paid what we're worth. And so when we get back, now it's like summer's over, back from your vacation, back to work, there can be that little bit of like oh my gosh, am I making enough money for what I'm doing? Do I love what I'm doing? And that I would put all my life force into this. That I would put my time and energy into looking at this. And it could be frustrating and scary, and there could be a lot of emotions that come up for people who are kind of asking themselves, is this worth it? Is this going to lead me towards my mastery? Is it worth it? Was it worth it? Like, and it's not maybe you just asking that. There could be also like your ancestors are asking, is this worth it for us? Because you know, we're a tribe. We're a tribe. We have our ancestors with us every day, and we're a tribe. And so it's not like we're just alone on this planet, like, oh yeah, I'm just on my own grind. It's like feeling the weight. Is it worth it? Is it worth putting your time and energy towards? And so this week is drilling it down to this week. It's hard because I'm feeling so many energies right now that are wanting to speak to this week. We have the density of a lot of earth that's going to be with us. We have also this interesting thing right now that's been following us. I think I've spoke about this before, but Jupiter right now, the planet of expansion, beneficence, abundance, things working out for you, that energy is being squared, meaning that it's being negatively impacted by Neptune in Pisces. And so what that means is that right now we're in this interesting placement we're in an interesting place right now within our interaction with what we want, the expansion that we've called upon, and kind of sitting with this energy of mysticism and mystery and delusion and the inability for there to be like a concrete thing, while we're in a very earthy, concrete time in Virgo. So it's like it could be also for those of you who are not gainfully employed or kind of like I'm wanting some expansion in a certain area of my life. It doesn't have to just be work, but there's a dream, there's a wish. There's like, when is this thing going to pick up? Why do I feel so stuck? You know, a lot of people might be feeling stuck. They might be feeling held back, or that things aren't moving forward and that they'll never move forward. And that's never true, because the one thing that's always true about life is that change is inevitable. You know, what must go up must come down, and vice versa. So there is movement happening. But what must be confusing for some listeners out there is that they see all around them this thing called reality. You know, like they're getting up, they're paying their bills, they're doing this, they're doing that. They're doing the ritual. Maybe you're doing the ritual. Maybe you're waking up. You're doing the best that you can. And there still doesn't feel like there's like that push forward. And a huge part of what we're in is we're almost in this kind of mystic place where it's a bit of a twilight zone. And it's a great time to just tap into just tapping into the ability to surrender, to be honest, which was just kind of hard for melanated folks, for people of color, because there's this idea that now, like, you know what, I've surrendered enough and I'm going to go out there and make my life happen. I've been taught that we have to grind and we have to hustle, we have to make it happen, and I'm going to go do that. And in these times with this Jupiter squaring, with this Neptune squaring Jupiter, it's actually like, yeah, your expansion is going to take a backseat right now for the ability for you to actually be in the energy of faith. For you to be in the energy of faith right now, and to recognize that the universe has your back, that everything's working out for you, but that you're not quite ready to release into that new big expanded place. There's something for you in the mystery. That's what I'm hearing the universe say to you. So there's something about letting yourself just go with the flow. If the flow says that you're just going to just chill and not try to make effort and make anything happen, then that's the flow. And that's good medicine for you. It's good medicine for you right now. It's like you have permission to not have to. I know it's a Virgo season, so there's like, let's work, let's make this happen. And yes, have your daily routine. But if for those of you out there, there's a group of people who are like, I'm really wanting my life to change. Dramatic, positive shifts in my life. And it's coming. Because when you make a prayer, it goes somewhere. It's not just like this unheard, uncared about thing. It goes somewhere. The energy accumulates. And when we have a routine and we put our energy in this routine and we circle it around and we meditate and we do our practices and we pray, and that energy builds. And so when we have these hard, challenging transits, the best thing to do is to keep the faith and to surrender. And to recognize that if we're trying to do anything as a human, like meaning like I'm going to go just make it happen with my action, that we're actually missing out on a greater cosmic alignment. There are people out there that have zero efforting and all of the success, and they get it. They get that it's not about effort. It's not about hustle. It's about alignment. It's about being in alignment with what you're here to do on this planet. And what I love about astrology is that it gives you big, major clues as to what that is. And every time you do the things you align with what's in your chart, there's an opportunity for you to create within yourself a journey that's enjoyable. I said earlier, in these times, it isn't about, as we awaken in our spiritual journey, it is not about us just surviving. Like, great, okay, I got all the information I need just to survive. No, it is about us thriving, and like thriving to the degree that we're balling out of control. We have health and wellness. We're having ecstatic love, like romantic relationships. Our children are healthy. Our communities are thriving. Our relationships to community, we're not depressed. We're not isolated. We're not on drugs. We have all that we need. Like, this is who we really are, and this is what we're awakening to. So for this week, there's an opportunity to be a part of this dream. There's a dream. There's a dream that you're aligning to. And it's like, that is the energy for the next at least 2 weeks that's still in act. Right now, it's just like, stay in the dream. Stay in the dream. No matter what reality is showing you, reality is just a flashcard of the past. Reality is just an echo of the past. So if you're seeing a reality right now that's filled with a lot of contrast, maybe there's a lot of bills, there's a lot of negative people, there's a lot of things at work, there's the relationship if you're seeing a lot of negativity, or aka contrast, recognize that is an echo of the past. That is the energy of the past. That's what you were able to manifest in the present, but that's the past energy. Your consciousness is already well towards the future. Your consciousness is already towards the best prayer for yourself. And so right now what this is that we're in an extended prayer. That's what Spirit is showing me. It's showing me like just us being in this extended prayer, and the only thing that we can do is stay in the prayer, stay in the intention, whatever you want to call it. Stay in the hope, keep the faith, and let the energy of that faith pull you all the way through into victory. That's the only thing you could do. The other thing you could do is just say, you know what? This isn't working. I believe it. And then within that, that's how you pull yourself backwards. Because in these times, it's make or break. It's have faith or have a hard time. There's only two choices. When you have this type of transit where there's constant delusion, like you think this thing's going to work out, it falls through. This other thing comes up, falls through. That is the pattern that's happening around a lot of people. Something comes up, falls through. Something comes up, falls through. Because we're in this Neptune energy, which is deceptive, and it's not clear. It's mysterious. Is this the new thing? Is this my person that I should date? Is this? And the answer is, stay in the mystery. That there's no answers. There's only questions in this moment. And the only thing that is true, that's definitive, is faith. That is the only thing that's true during this week. That if you're feeling the energy of burden, like you're working really hard, to turn your energy towards what's your prayer. Because we can look at what's not working and create more of it. Just by the observation of what's not working, we can create more of what's not working. Or we can be like, okay, I'm experiencing a lot of contrast, and that's teaching me what I don't like, which is helping to inform me as to what I want more of, which is actually a good thing. Now I know that when I manifest, when I say this is what I want from the universe, this is specifically what I want. And I know the specifics because I know exactly what I didn't like just now. And so this is helping me to just really refine more of what I want. And there's a part of us that wants to have more faith, or we wouldn't be manifesting the situation. And so that's the big planetary energy. And that's, the cards I pulled, that's what they're really showing. I pulled a card of sorrow. This is a card of ancestors, going with the flow, and the dream. Those are the energies that I'm seeing for this week, is that we might be moving from a place of maybe feeling a little like there isn't a sense of, maybe there's just a sense of weight, right? A sense of density, a sense of like a lot. And it could be that there's a feeling of it being like a mental thing, like there's so much on the mind, like maybe even an overwhelmedness, like, wow, I have so many things to do. I have so many, and I'm so far behind, and I can't believe myself. And the Virgo energy can be very critical energy. So I would just invite you this week, lay off of the criticism, give yourself some love, recognize that it's okay. It's okay if any of these themes are coming up. And if this isn't you, if this isn't resonating, like this isn't my life, maybe you see people around you, right? Maybe there's people around you that are having a hard time coming back into the work energy, or, and that are just like, gosh, there's just so much going on, and I have to do this and this and this, look at all these details, and oh my God, they want that, and they want that, and they just feel bogged down by the details. And maybe what that means for you as an uplifter, this week is an opportunity for you to just be there. Just be an ear. It's like, I hear you, I see. It looks like a lot. Yeah. I see what's going on for you. Yeah. Because like I mentioned, the theme of Virgo is being of service. And so it's either someone feeling really bogged down from the mundane details of life. And then there's a potential of you to come in and be like, I'm going to serve this person by helping them out. It's so funny in my own personal life. Like, I recently had a really, really good friend, one of my besties, moving back into town from an adjacent town. And she's a single mom. And she was going to do it by herself, kind of. And I was like, are you crazy? And I just, I spent every single evening after work, I went over and I helped her paint her house, and I helped her move her stuff. And we just, we did the best we could. But I was with the Virgo energy. I was being of service. I was doing something that was like physically, oriented, which is also very Virgo. It's like routine. It's the energy of just moving around and being alive. And I was in the flow of astrology. And because of that, she was able to get help. And she got other friends involved too, of course. But it was just that was my version of like, okay, I see someone who's getting bogged down by all of these details of moving, and I'm just going to go help her. And it felt so rewarding, the end result of just helping my friend who's totally been there for me. And just to turn around and do that is so simple, but I was in the flow. And in being of the service, I forgot about all of the Neptune energy of like being in the mystery. There's things I'm waiting to hear back on within my world, because I'm in that Neptune energy right now as well. And I'm like, cool, like I'm gonna go do something that's Virgo, very earthy, very helpful. And within that, I can keep my focus on my prayer and not get sucked into this prayer is never going to come true, my intentions aren't going to work out. It just helps to, so if you're it also, and so that's the antidote for those of you who still are maybe in this place of like feeling this weight or this mental energy. What can you do right now? Who can you serve right now? It could be that you don't have any friends to serve, but when you're out in the world, you're smiling, or you're doing something to strangers that's really positive, like you're helping them. You're at the checkout stand and you ask the cashier how she's doing. Simple things of being of service. This is a really good week for that. And just to recap again, for a lot of melanated folks, you may be feeling flashbacks and energy as it relates to your ancestors and the energy of slavery, because we are in that vibe right now. The energy of master and servant, the energy of student and teacher, the energy of they're just being like, Virgo is the energy of a relationship that where there's a higher up and someone who's beneath that person. So the boss and the subordinates, that is the energy, that is the dynamics. And so just being gentle with yourself, recognizing if you're giving your power away to a master, and inviting yourself to give permission to becoming your own master. That you are the student and the master within your being, and that every time we invest in healing ourselves, that we step closer towards being the self-masters that we are, so that we can awaken the world at large. And that is it for the show this week. I hope it wasn't too all over the place. I try to be clear when I channel. But again, we're in this Neptune energy, and I feel like I'm in the influence of that. And, I just have to love myself and be okay with what I shared today. And so on Saturday's show, we're going to be talking more about, we're going to be diving more deeply, for those of you who want a deeper dive into the energies of last week's topic, which was the Oshun prophecy. And last week we were listening to a priestess of Oshun talking about a prophecy around humanity, and we're just going to do more dissecting and unpacking of that prophecy and what that means. And until then, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for sharing this podcast with your friends, letting them know that there's a Black woman on the air somewhere talking about spirituality and astrology and healing. And I really appreciate all of the support I've been receiving. It's been so positive. People just saying, "You got it, you could do it, girl." And I'm like, thank you. It's been really beautiful. And I hope you feel uplifted, and that the show has given you something special in your day. And I'm just wishing you a lot of love and light. And until Saturday at 9 p.m., I'll see you then. Take care.